Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Richard Chapman. You know me as half of the Two Bald Nerds. I'm here with Mike Meyers. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Woo! All right.
That just never gets old, Richard. I'm sorry.
I agree. It's funny, right? Two Bald Nerds is always a good thing, right? Listen, we're going to spend some time today talking about something that happened just recently that I know everybody's talking about. The FAA and all of the news that came out with that, and NOTAMS. Mike, I know you're a big aviation guy, and obviously, you know, I focus a little bit more on the security side. So what do you say? We think we should talk about this today?
I think we should. I mean, number one, don't even get me started on NOTAMs. I'm not so sure they're important. This is my opinion, and I'm sure there's lots of professional pilots who might disagree with me. But
so what is NOTAMs then? So if they're not important, what is NOTAMs?
Is a notice to airmen, and or they've got a non-gender specific term. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the idea behind NOTAMs is that anything that's happening at facilities, airports, or airspace, there's no weather with NOTAMs. You know, there's no turbulence reports or smoke or anything like that. It's stuff that has to do with the airports. So this can be anything from closed taxiways to there's goats on the field to don't fly over Camp David because the president's there kind of stuff. So that's what NOTAMs is all about. Richard, it's been around for 100 years. This isn't new stuff. And it's, I don't want to get too much into this, but what I don't have a very good opinion of NOTAMs as they currently exist. They're hard to read. That's massive. I mean, even a regular domestic flight is going to have like 5 to 7 pages of these NOTAMs that are written in this weird abbreviation language that takes a while to understand. They don't sort it by, you know, they could have one that says an aircraft, you know, that there's anti-aircraft missiles in the Ukraine, and right next to it, they're going to be talking about goats at LaGuardia. You know what I mean? So there's no priority to it. It's all this god-awful 1924 all caps stuff, and it needs a major overhaul. I know this is separate from the security issues, but so that's what NOTAMs are. And
but I think I might disagree with you, because I'm sure you were all over this yesterday morning, watching the news and reading and trying to see what was going on with it, I assume, correct?
Oh yeah.
So was I. But the funny thing is, I think we were looking at it probably from different perspectives. You were looking at it from the IT perspective to see if it was an IT issue, and I was thinking at it from more of a security issue, right?
Oh yeah. I honestly, Richard, I count on you to look at that stuff from the security angles. Right now, the FAA's reported that it was a corrupted file, and I'm like, okay, corrupted file. All right. I guarantee you that Google's hundreds of thousands of servers sometimes get corrupted files, and yet Google always stays up. So putting that in your ballpark, I mean, we're just talking about clearly the FAA has failed to provide even the most basic of redundancy on a system that, let's face it, it just doesn't tax anything to be pushing text around. They don't even have to worry about lowercase, for crying out loud. I mean, how hard would it be to have, you know, failover servers to create clusters for something like this? You and I can set this up in our house in 2 hours with Linux. And so that was surprising. Again, we don't have all the details on this, and it's going to take months before we get the real answer. But it seems like a real screw up to me to not have even something like basic redundancy. When I heard file corrupted, I was like, are you kidding me? Come on.
Right. So is it clear? Can we call the bet, you know, one on your side? It was an IT issue and not a security issue. Do I owe you lunch now? Is that?
Well, you owe me lunch in perpetuity, so it doesn't matter. But the reality is this is come on, is redundancy a security issue? That would be a risk mitigator, right? Redundancy. Yep. So to me, that's a security issue. And so we're both right. Well, here, go like this with me, Richard. Go. There you go. So we're both there.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, yesterday morning, I had the news running on one of my monitors. I had Twitter feeds. I had, you know, all my RSS feeds. I was scanning and trying to see if there was anything that came out from a security aspect, because obviously that's a big potential breach or attack if it was a security issue from a hacker, right? From a malicious threat actor, advanced persistent threat, something like that. And, you know, I look at things from the security aspect. So I'm thinking future here. And I think this is a big wake up call. I think people really do need to pay attention, because this could have been a breach, and it might still be a corrupt file, really. I mean, you know, last time I checked, malware is not a very nice file. So who knows? But that being said, you know, we don't want to get caught with our pants down, so to speak, right? We probably need to get ahead of this. Would you agree?
Well, I agree, but I don't think it's going to be a threat actor, simply because I would want to do something a lot more sophisticated than a corrupted file. When Malaysian Airlines MH17, when that got shot down over the air crane back in 2014, there were NOTAMs for that. Did you know that? They had a warning. Now, people don't rely exclusively on NOTAMs for stuff like that. They could be calling into the office. They'd be hearing other airlines doing diversions and stuff like that, but it is part of the process. If I was going to be a threat actor and I wanted to jack with the NOTAM system, I wouldn't be corrupting a file. I'd be putting false information in. I would tell everybody that LaGuardia is closed. You know, I would be doing, you know, I do man in the middle type attacks to do something nefarious. And I would probably be doing that as part of a multi-pronged attack as I'm getting ready to, you know, I don't want to get too alarmist here, but just before I start dropping nuclear weapons into Eastern Poland or something like that, that would be something more sophisticated. I'm not putting this on the Russians at all, but I'm saying I do more than a corrupted file. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, it's easy to speculate and kind of lose track of what's right in front of you. And I get that. And yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to throw that out there, but, you know, as a security, you know, professional, you do have to think about these things and go, you know, threat actors, this is what they do. They do try to create havoc and, you know, take things down. And you're right. They would probably want to try to do something more extreme. They probably, you know, want to try to make a bigger statement, but sometimes you only can do what you can do based on the access you've been able to get. You know what I mean? So, I mean, as a security, you know, professional, I would hope that, you know, we're not dealing with that right now. But again, I think we need to prepare. I think we really need to focus on building people up. You know, we've got a new cohort starting this Saturday, and they're all people actually getting into cybersecurity, and we need more cybersecurity professionals. And honestly, we need more companies to bring these cybersecurity professionals with some hands-on experience and knowledge on now as at least junior level analysts, to make sure that we're not looking back going, it was an attack and we weren't prepared. That's kind of the only thing I think of in this particular regard.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Richard. And I think the big lesson learned we can take from this entire NOTAMS incident is exactly the lesson you talked about. And that is continue to build our cybersecurity defenses here in the United States and abroad, and take advantage of companies like CyberNow Labs who are providing that training to get those people online.
Yeah, love it. Well, Mike, it's always a pleasure. I know you're a big aviation fan, so I was happy to spend a few minutes with you talking about this today. We'll have to figure out what we're going to talk about next time, huh? Maybe we'll have some more news. Man. All right. For everybody out there, thanks again for spending some time with us. This is Richard, half of the Two Bald Nerds.
And I'm Mike Meyers.